Hey guys, what's up? Fan here again, and today I'm back again and I'm bringing you guys another video, and this time I'm going to be talking about the newest hero, Butcher, and I'm going to talk a little bit about all his talents and what I think the best talent tree is for Butcher right now. I have played him quite a bit now in scrims and competitive tournaments and whatnot, so I have a pretty good idea. And yeah, without further ado, let's just hop in. So, today I'm going to be trying something different where I'm just going to show you the builds and talk about it a lot in the try mode here. The benefits of this is that I get to kind of talk a lot about the talents and which ones you can choose in which cases. And maybe I'll upload a game later on of me playing Butcher if people want to see that, where you can see more of the gameplay. But for now, let's just get into the talents. So at level 1, I think there's two choices right now that really stand out as good choices to me. So the first one is Invigoration. If Hamstring hits a hero, half of the mana cost is refunded and the cooldown is reduced by a second. Now, with Hamstring being a 4-second cooldown, that 1 second reduction is actually a 25% cooldown reduction on your Q, which is pretty substantial. So I would say in the majority of cases, I prefer Invigoration now. In some cases where the enemy has like two or more auto attackers, sometimes I'll take block as well, just because Butcher is, someone who really goes in hard and he doesn't have the HP pool of a tank, but he has to be frontlining. So sometimes, when I really feel like I want to survive for a bit longer, I'll take block just to add on to what little survivability Butcher has. So these are the two choices, and for now I'll go ahead and take Invigoration. Um, I really don't see much point of taking chop meat. I guess the main point of chop meat would be to faster stack your meat because each minion would get 3 stacks of meat. But the problem with this is you have to last hit it with hamstring, right? Which is not going to be all of the minions. And the second problem is the 50% bonus damage to non-heroic targets. It's not that good because the hamstring damage is actually extremely low. You can see it's only 50 damage here at level 1, and looking at my auto attack damage, you can see the auto attack damage is 67 at level 1. So comparatively, that's very, very low. So the 50% damage increase isn't going to get you a lot of value there. I see some people go victuals. I don't really like this unless you're planning on abusing the bug where the DK or the Garden of Terror gets healed. If you take this talent and you're piloting it, other than that, I really don't see the point of this. Maybe if you're laning Butcher, you can take it just for sustain. But at that point, why did you pick Butcher if you're just going to be laning with him? It doesn't make much sense in my opinion. So for me, the only two viable ones right now are Invigoration and Block. Now, let's level up a bit and talk about the level 4 talent. Alright, so level 4 talent is pretty cool. I think these are all fairly, well, there's some options here for sure. The talents that I really like at level 4 right now are Flail Axe and Envenom. So Flail Axe increases the range of hamstring by 40%. This really gives you a ton of utility. So you can see right now, the range here is pretty short. I can just barely touch the wall from my position here. And if you see me take this, all of a sudden I can go beyond the well. So this is, looking at this, this is beyond the range of an auto attack hero, right? It's almost I would say like 1.5 the range of a standard auto attack hero like Vala. So this adds a lot of utility and it also synergizes with Invigoration. Basically, if you take this talent, it's super easy to hit the enemy heroes and get the benefit from Invigoration all the time. And it's got a lot of utility. If you're in melee range, you can easily hit like two heroes because of how long this is. If you're not in melee range, you can actually poke at enemy heroes from a very long distance away. Um, and like you can poke from so long distance away that Avala can't even auto attack you, and it's on a 3 second cooldown. So what you can do is I poke back away, and then you just poke at the very point, and then you keep backing away, and it's actually a pretty decent poke tool. And it costs almost no mana because if you hit a hero, half your mana cost is refunded. So that's pretty cool there. Now, the other talent that I wanted to talk about on this level that I like is Envenom, and I'm really I've been talking a lot about how Envenom is not as bad as people think it is. Yes, it did receive a nerf this patch. It used to deal 300 damage over 5 seconds. Now it deals 300 damage over 10 seconds. Uh, Obviously, that's a big deal. It got nerfed a lot, but back in last patch, it was a must-take talent for almost every hero that could get it. It was just very, very overpowered, strong. This patch, however, basically, I think Venom is still good, whereas most other people think it's trash. You have to think about it. There's a lot of different applications of Envenom still, right? It's still a lot of damage. The cooldown did not change, the damage did not change, and those two are very important. Thinking about it, like if someone tosses a heal at a target, the heal actually counteracts the envenom damage, or the heal actually is calculated so that the envenom damage goes through instantly if the target is healed, or if they're shielded by a Tassadar, or if you're using it on a Johanna or whatever, you can instantly break their unstoppable. It's still really good, and it still has a lot of applications, and it still brings damage, which is my main point. So that's kind of why I like Envenom. I don't take this one as often, but if I'm going for a more all-in build, like a very bursty build where when I charge in, I'm going to take out one hero immediately no matter what, sometimes I'll take Envenom. And yeah, I just think Envenom is still pretty darn good. Think about it this way: if you charge on a target and you didn't have Envenom, um, and you deal 500 damage to a Vala. Let's say Vala starts at 1000 HP, you deal 500, she's at 500 now, right? If you envenom her, she's all of a sudden at 200 HP. Um, and let's say an Uther heals her for 300 health, right? Well, now she's back at 500. But if you didn't have Envenom, Vala's at 1000 HP, you deal 500 damage to her. So she's at 500 life, and then Uther heals her for 300 HP. All of a sudden, she's at 800 HP. So that's one scenario, and basically any scenario where heal or shield is involved, like Envenom still brings the damage, and it's instant if the target gets healed or shielded. So it's still pretty good. But moving on, the more common build is Flail Axe. Like I said, the utility is just really, really great. So that's what I like on that. Let's move on to level 7 talents. Okay, so level 7 talents, I think there's two that I really like here as well. First one is Brutal Strike. After using Hamstring, your basic attack deals 50% additional damage. This one's really good because Butcher has a high base attack damage, and his talent involves stacking increase in his attack damage. So I really like Brutal Strike. This one I go the most. I think you can also take Abattoir if you want. My problem with Abattoir is that some of the benefit is only gained when you die, and I don't like skills like that, because if you don't die, which you should never be aiming to, then you don't get any benefit from this other than the 35 stacks, right? So you don't get the maximum value if you don't die. So that's kind of why I don't like Abattoir as much, but it is very viable, and it has very good synergies with Blood Frenzy, so it is a very viable talent for this tier if you want to take it. But most of the time I do take Brutal Strike. One thing that most people know about Butcher, but basically your Q resets your auto attack, so you can auto attack Q and you'll be able to immediately auto attack again. And this is also the talent choice at level 7, which will max out your burst damage. Just because it's a crit on your next attack, and it also resets your attack. It's just very, very strong overall. So yeah, basically this is the build that I go most often so far. And moving on to level 10. Level 10, the most common ult choice by far right now is Furnace Blast. Furnace Blast is basically after a 3-second cooldown, fire just explodes and it deals damage. You can see in a radius around you. You can see the circle as I hover it. And I'll just use it real fast here to show you. It's just this big circle. And a couple cool tricks you can do with Furnace Blast is, obviously it has a timer, and it's actually a very long timer, 3 seconds. So a lot of the time you want to press R and you want to just wait a little bit, because your charge on a target usually doesn't take 3 seconds. It'll take 1.5, well, anywhere from 1 to 2 seconds usually, depending on how far you are. You can see this is a max range charge, right? And it's 1.5 seconds if he was running away. So charge hits really, really fast. So you gotta make sure you want to time your Furnace Blast properly with that. And other than that, one cool thing about Furnace Blast, I think, is that a lot of people don't do is right after you hit your target with your charge, you want to be immediately clicking to the right of them. So right after you hit, you want to spam click behind them just to make sure you instantly get that distance. Because if you don't do that, a lot of the time, if you get like CC'd or if they get like a speed boost or if they're like Vola and they vault out, you'll just miss the ult. So those are a couple of tricks to mention real fast. Moving on to level 13. I think level 13, realistically, I only take one talent right now, and it's Spell Shield. I think Spell Shield is very, very strong right now. Ever since the buff, it's just a really strong talent, especially in the current meta where all the damage is burst damage and it's all, ability damage as well. And this talent synergizes very well with Butcher because, if you play it well, you're going to be hiding somewhere with your spell shield up, right? And spell shield reduces the ability damage you take by 50% for 3 seconds, and it triggers as soon as you take ability damage, right? So my spell shield is up, right? Let's say their entire team is here, and I'm just, I'm gonna Furnace, I'm gonna wait until the proper time, and then I'm just gonna charge in and try and kill him. Well, right here, my spell shield gets procced, right? But in that one instance, I'm already on their target. I'm probably gonna kill that target extremely quickly with, the Furnace Blast, the Q, the E, maybe Envenom if I have it, and all of their team is almost certainly going to be dumping damage on me because I am frontlining, right? I'm charging straight into their team, and I'll easily be able to kill whatever target I go on in 3 seconds. So that means that if they want to save that target or counter burst me, they have to drop all their damage onto my spell shield if I initiate properly, and that's a ton of value for spell shield. So yeah, that's really what it is at this level. I guess you could get Crave Flesh if you really just aren't having any trouble surviving at all. This is pretty good as well. Um, and other than that, I don't think these two are good at all. Savage Charge, it's current health, so it's not really good. If it was max health, it might be good, but it's not, so that's why it's not good. And Burning Rage is just pretty bad overall normally. Alright, so moving on to level 16. Right now, I think there's two viable things you can do. If you want to go more utility, you can just get Crippling Slam. Basically, this makes the slow no longer fade out and it lasts a bit longer, so it's pretty cool. And the second thing is Blood Frenzy. I would say for the vast majority of the time right now, I go Blood Frenzy just to get the attack speed. It's 25% permanent attack speed. 35 if you have Abattoir, and that's just really good in terms of like taking mercs, taking bosses, and obviously it also gives you a big damage boost when you're attacking heroes as well. Now moving on to level 20, I don't think Enrage is very good, by the way, just because it only activates when you are below 50% of your health, and at that point, you know, against a coordinated team, you're probably just dead. Like the increased attack speed and the relentless basically doesn't matter that much unless you have like a D shield on your team to kind of, someone D shields you at 50% HP and Enrage is activated. That's like the only scenario where I see this getting a lot of value. Other than that, like if you're that low, chances are you're just gonna die regardless of what this gives you. So I like Blood Frenzy a lot more. Plus, if you have Abattoir, Blood Frenzy gives you 35% attack speed. This one only gives you 40, so you can see it doesn't. It's really not that much better. Yeah, so moving on, level 20. Honestly, I think the only talent you can really get at a competitive level at level 20 is Bolt of the Storm. It's just too good right now. Um, you know, Basically, you're very, very all in as Butcher, and this basically allows you to go in and get out, right? So one more time, I'm waiting to charge someone. I'm gonna go in. I think I mistimed that because he ran straight back. But after you go in, you can just bolt right out. So you just clear cooldowns right, real fast. So you can see, you go in, you try and kill a target, and then you immediately bolt out after, right? So it gives you the ability to not stay in the thick of battle. Prior to 20, if I go in like that, I'm probably going to be surrounded by their team, right? So uh, Bolt just adds a ton of utility, and it's almost always necessary, in my opinion. Plus, you can make some, cool plays happen with Bolt. Obviously, you can obviously you can like maybe just hide until right before Furnace Blast goes, right? And then you blink on them, Furnace Blast them, do all that good stuff. Um, and yeah, that's about it. Let's see. So this is actually the most common build that I go nowadays, and you can see it right here. I'll also put it in the description below. And I'll put some different builds that I like to go occasionally in the description below again. Once again, it's basically just Envenom here, and sometimes Block here. Other than that, oh, and sometimes Abattoir as well. So those are the main like different talents you can take at each tier depending on what you need. But yeah, other than that, this is my butcher build. If people want to see a game, I'll try and upload a game later of me playing this in QM or Hero League. But yeah, other than that, hope you guys enjoyed this quick video showing you guys the build and explaining some of the talent diversities you can go with. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. If you like the content, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And other than that, I will see you guys next time.